This is KGBC, Galveston, Houston, 1540 AM, and K269GS, Pasadena, 101.7 FM.
Are you ready to be pushed over the edge? Edge Radio, coming soon to 1540 AM and 101.7 FM Houston, Pasadena, Clear Lake, Galveston. Been feeling a little edgy lately? Listen to Edge Radio. That'll push you over the top. 1540 AM and 101.7 FM.
Are you tired of hurting? Is there something you would like to do that you can no longer do without pain? This is Dr. Arango with Arango Chiropractic Clinic. It might be time for you to try chiropractic. Chiropractic emphasizes that the way the body is structured is highly related to the way it functions. Spinal misalignment can cause pain, decreased range of motion, and organ dysfunction. Spinal dysfunction can originate from car accidents, work accidents, and other types of trauma. They can also come.
Hey guys, welcome back from a long Memorial Day weekend. We hope you had a great time. You're listening to Edge Radio at 101.7 FM, 1540 AM on the all-new Matchmaker Hotline. We didn't really get to do Marridate Mondays, but I wore the shirt just to remind you guys that we are here to cure the divorce rate one couple at a time. And thanks to Marridate, my guest today will receive complimentary gift certificates. So let's jump right in and welcome Janice Peterson to the show. Welcome. I've got a whole bio. I can't wait to read your bio because it is so impressive. Aww. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
I love this lady. She is so genuine and unique, and you guys are going to see why I love her so. And then last but not least, the lady that introduced us and made this all happen, Miss River and Word herself, CEO Pam Jones in the building. Y'all welcome Pam. Yay. Y'all messing getting the mics all situated? Just scoot it back a little bit. Scoot it back. Yeah, because you got to have the weight on it. There you go. And then you can just put it down like this. It's directional. See if your thing will come down a little bit. All right, we'll get it a little bit more squared away. Okay, so without further ado, let me tell you guys a little bit about our special guest, Janice, today. She is a gifted and powerful singer-songwriter who used her intimacy with God to convey a gospel sound that captures listeners with a sense of traditional worship and hope. The Houston native, H-Town in the house. Me too, girl. The H-Town native is an anointed songstress with a versatile style and powerhouse vocals that delivers. Peterson served as the Minister of Worship and Arts Development at Impact Kingdom Center Church under the leadership of Apostle G. Emerson Scott. Released in 2011, the Janice Peterson Project, God is Real, live in Houston, was recorded at Cathedral of Faith Church. The CD is now a collection of 14 captivating songs filled with commanding, reverential vocals and awesome inspirational lyrics designed to usher listeners into a place of pure praise and worship. This goes on and on, but it says you've been influenced by Shaka Khan and Patti LaBelle. I love Shaka Khan myself. Yes. Aretha Franklin and so many others. Basically, you've been honored for your gift performing many, it looks like, wow, congressional awards. You've got, there's so many awards here. I can't even go into all this, but you are basically a firm believer, Janice, that as a woman thinks, so is she. You know, it's funny. I have this sign in my bathroom that says the man that says it can't be done needs to get out of the woman, the way of the woman that's going to do it. Okay. Y'all agree? So today is going to be really great because we want to spotlight up and coming entrepreneurs, rising stars, especially in Houston. You ladies, every time I look up something great, an award, you're being honored, some kind of event, something is going on where you guys are being honored and very worthy of that. You guys have put so much love and service into the community. So now it's our time to give back and spotlight you ladies. And Pam is, wow, I kid you not, literally every time I look up, Pam is getting some award for something, whether it's for her or one of her artists. It's just, wow, Pam, tell us a little about River and Word and as a CEO, tell us about that experience for
Thank you for that awesome introduction.
You know?
River and Word is a digital platform. We're a magazine basically, and what we do is promote, support, and connect independent individuals, if they're artists, if they're author, small business, entrepreneur. even teenagers. We have our youngest was like 9 years old, and she's phenomenal. Has her own company, the whole 9 yards.
Are you serious?
Yes. Our first successful author was 16 years old.
Wow.
So we work with everybody. If you're independent and you don't have capital backing, you don't have financial backing of any source, then we come in kind of like the middleman, and we help you get the exposure and connections that you need to go further. Janice is one of the artists that I've worked with. We were friends from years ago, and we reconnected at Texas Gospel Music Excellence Award, right? About a year ago, and we reconnected then. It was just God's timing, and she's one of the examples of what we do. Janice, we've got her on several radio stations, TV shows, singing live. She's an award winner now, and even international interview in Barbados.
Nice.
So this is what River and Word does. We work with people to give them the exposure so they get connected to go further.
Amen. That's awesome. There's a lot of great work that you guys are doing out here. So, one of the things we want to talk about, being a woman in this industry, even with the soccer players, they got in trouble because when they won, the U.S., what is it called? The World Cup. I'm not sure what the soccer, whatever, forgive me. I'm not an athlete, but whatever the female soccer players won in the world thing. Okay, that thing, you know how everything's a thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, they got in trouble because when it was over, they took off their shirt and they had on an undershirt that says equal pay. Did you guys see that?
And it's just, I missed that.
It's like women's lib has come so far in the sense of education, equality, and rights, but apparently we're still getting like 78 cents on the dollar. And so I know that, especially like in the WNBA, it's so crazy how people will support the Rockets, but then they won't support the WNBA, the Comets, the same way. And that just, it's a shame that female athletes and entrepreneurs have to struggle so much. Like myself as a female comedian, it's crazy what I've gone through. That casting couch, and if you're not willing to play the game, that stuff is really real.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, Hollywood is way worse than you can even imagine. But I think that's what I like about you so much, Pam, is I've decided to stay independent. I'm not going to let any major label or major brand own my image, my brand, tell me what I'm worth, tell me you can get this, you need to wear that. Look at all these celebrities, like look at Miley Cyrus, for example, who was so innocent and pure of Hannah Montana. Then she got into Hollywood, and now that she's naked on a wrecking ball and doing videos. But seriously, that's it. When you get to that point of if fame is your motivation, then you are going to get twisted up in some evil works. So you have to really stay true to yourself, and you have to remember what your focus is, because there's all these temptations and things that will come at you and will look really good. We were talking the other day, I created a reality show that was greenlighted by Oxygen in 2014, and they offered me $1.4 million for it as a show creator. And it was one of those things where I really thought I was going to get people to open their Bibles and research it, because I had a client who basically claimed he was a Christian, but he also said he wanted to be a swinger. Now that's very controversial, right? Very controversial. My friend's like, Amber, I don't think you really want to align your brand with that. And my thing was, I was so curious, like it was so... it is reality show worthy. It's like, is this like, I look at it like, I'm not going to do fake reality. It's going to be like documentaries. It's going to be something interesting. And the more I got into it, this guy was really like taking the Bible and saying in the Old Testament, it says a woman can have many wives if they can afford them, blah, blah, blah. Husband, wife. Once I got to it, even if I believed in that, okay, but let's just, just devil's advocate, just argument here. Even if I believed that, I wouldn't, after seeing what he was doing, he wasn't trying to find wives. He was just trying to have whoever was available. You know what I mean? Including me, apparently. Yeah. And it just didn't sit well with my spirit. It just kept, I just knew in my spirit this was a trick or a test. It's kind of like, how are you going to sell out? At what cost? That's what this is really about. And it was like, but it was such an interesting show because it was real. I'm like, during the daytime, this guy is like, he is in, I love Jesus. I'm church. The Lord gave me this space, always talking about the Lord this, the Lord that. But then at night, he was out doing dirt, right? Well, after a long story short, I just really talked to some really close friends I really confided in and trusted. And I said, my spirit is just not, And they're like, you're going to turn down, you know, of course, worldly, everybody in the world is like, 1.4 million. Are you crazy? You're going to get major network connections. You're going to get and I'm like, at what cost?
That's exactly it. At what cost? There's a price to pay for money.
That's true.
Yeah.
And you don't bring the money from the dogs to the table. That's what the Bible tells us.
And my grandma was just in my head, what does it profit a man to gain the world?
Exactly.
You know, lose the soul. Because thank God for my grandmother having me in the Bible, because now, at least when these kind of situations come up, I know where to go to look for that word, because that's the thing. It's like so many times, I cannot tell you, myself included, how many times I've seen people get caught up in something short term or temporary because we don't stop and really ask God or you know, include him in the decision making process. It's like, this is what I want, and then I'll pray about it, and I'll pray it works in my favor, what I want. Like, it's never God's will at all.
Right.
So that was probably the biggest test, I think, to date. It was easy to turn down, you know, guys that wanted sex for, you know, publicity and things like that. That's easy to turn down. But it gets hard when it's like $1.4 million. And like, this could really make a difference in me and my kids' lives, you know? But at what cost? And, you know, it's crazy because at the end of the day, I couldn't do it. I called the guy that I was creating the show with, and I said, you can have it. I can't do it. Like, it's cool that, you know, more money will come down the road, you know, eventually. But I really feel like, wow, where would my life be today if I would have failed that test?
Yeah. Right.
I would not be where I'm supposed to be right now. And so I think it's very important. I cannot stress this enough. As women in business, we have got to pray about the people that we connect with. So important. So today I really want to harp on being equally yoked in business, just like you are in a relationship or a friendship or a family or whatever the case may be, because it hurts me when you've already, for lack of better words, mastered a level of test spiritually. You're more enlightened, you're more aware, you're more awake, you're more conscious of what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then to see your friends or brethren or sisters fall into those traps, because when it comes up, you feel like you're just lecturing.
Yes. Right.
You feel like you're just preaching to them and you're being judgmental.
Yes.
And that's not the case. You just don't want them to get caught up the way you did.
Exactly.
And that's the point. I think if we can be vulnerable to say, these are the mistakes I made. The ego is the death of all relationships.
That's the truth.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's the truth.
And I think it's just when people are too embarrassed to say, I'm struggling over here, I'm struggling over here. We're supposed to bring those things to each other.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we're supposed to help each other out. What do you guys think? What have been some of your struggles as women in business trying to come up and make it in today's world?
For me, it has been just that, being able to trust the person with your information. Because a lot of times with women, they tend to be insecure, jealous, all kind of issues. And they'll take what you give them and use it and turn it around and spew it out. And most of the time, it's not even the truth after it comes out of their mouth.
Right.
They mix their opinion in what you said. So it's really hard to find a safe place to go to and trust in another woman or confide in another woman and feel that there's a safety net there.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, it's not. Most of the time, they're gossipy, they're negative, or either they're trying to tear down your vision. They can't see your vision. So it's like, God, who do you trust? You know, I know we can come to you, but we're natural. Our human self wants a person to talk to as well. And that's just kind of the way Jesus talked to God, and the angels talk to Jesus. So we're kind of in the same example. We want someone that we can talk to here on the earth as well, you know. And Jesus confided in the priesthood. He went to the class. He learned and taught. He was taught by elders. So there's a process where we want to have relationship with other people. But it's difficult when you're a woman in business, first of all, because most men are intimidated and can't talk to them. Because they want to make sure they put a foot on your neck.
Some men are just as catty and gossipy. Trust and believe.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Been out here long enough to
if not
hear
worse.
about that. So it's tough. You might get one or two, and the Bible tells you have an Aaron and a Hur, is what the Bible refers to as a person that can lift your left and your right arm up and hold you up in the battle, in the trenches, and you can trust in that. It's just learning from God, who are those two that the root people to you as a tree to life.
Wow.
You know, you're in this earth, and your roots are at the river with the Lord. But then He'll give you two natural people that can hold you up. He said, 2 or 3 are in my midst. I mean, just 2 or 3 gathered together. There, I in the midst of it. So He's in the midst of that when He ordained to be together. Then we gotta learn not to just run and grab anybody. And see, I'm a love bug. That's why I get in trouble. I get in trouble all the time.
I do too. What about you, Dennis?
I feel the exact same way. I know whenever, at least my experiences in the past, and I'm like Pam, I'm a love bug as well. I love really hard, and I love making friends. But one thing that I have learned through the process of time and trial and error is that you have to really pray to the Holy Spirit for discernment.
Yeah.
And then the scripture says you shall know a tree by the fruit it bears. And so one of the things that I'm very watchful about is the Holy Spirit has let me know that and His word, the word of God says to lean not to your own understanding, but in all of your ways to acknowledge the Lord, and He will direct your path. Well, when I acknowledge the Lord in every way, even concerning, and when it says every way, I mean every way, business, relationships, you know, and so when you do this, and you're in tune, you're focused, you're centered with God, you have a prayer life, and you have, and I love to say worship, you have a relationship with God. Your spirit of discernment is very keen, and God begins to allow you to see the different factors or the different characteristics about a person that stick out, that says, this doesn't align with the word of God. And I'll give you an example. If you're in business with someone, let's say a producer, and they exaggerate or they lie or they lie a little bit, you know, sometimes you may not want to, and I don't mean to say sometimes, but you want to pay attention to those things.
Right.
Because you want to see if that's a pattern, if that's the character of that person, because if they're twisting things about other people, what do you think? You're not an exception to the rule.
Exactly.
You know, so you have to pay attention to those little things. So I learned to journal. Now, believe it or not, I do, because I go before the Lord and I'll pray concerning those things, and I'll say, God, this is what I see. This person is very talented. This person can help me to do this, and that. And then sometimes God will give you a very hard answer, and He'll say, no, wait.
Yep.
And you're like, oh my God, but this person is so talented. This person is, but they are not the one.
Yep.
Where there's resistance, that's your sign. And it doesn't mean no forever. It's not your season. It's not the time.
That's good.
We're over there trying to force a circle into a square.
Exactly.
You guys like, hey, didn't you learn that kindergarten? That'll fit, you know?
Exactly.
But, you know, this is just some things on my heart to talk about today, because it's just, I see, as we're rising, it's so important. And, you know, Pam and I have really come through some of this together as well. And just, sometimes it's just shocking and hurtful when you find out who's who. And you're like, no. Or this is my favorite. Oh yeah, last year was my season where God removed all these people, and I'm in my harvest season now. And then God's like, oh, I wasn't quite done yet.
You mean there's more?
What? What do you mean? There's a few. What? Them? No way. And I mean, you know, it's mind blowing, because in 10 years of working for myself, going for this, it still, I feel like I'm the only one, but I still get like totally shocked. Yes. Sometimes who it is. And I really think that's because we judge others how we see ourselves.
Sure.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't do some of those things, I think that's why it takes you back.
Right.
Like, what?
Right. And that's why we have to really be careful.
Yeah, definitely being careful and cautious, because the Lord doesn't call us to just jump out there and just be blindsided. He gives you wisdom, and if you don't have wisdom, what do we do, Janice? Ask.
He will freely give you wisdom. And you know, a lot of times we look at people, and like you said, Amber, you know, we know what we would do and what we wouldn't do. Certain areas like integrity is very important to us, but integrity is not necessarily an issue. It's about doing whatever it takes to make it to the top, no matter who you have to step on, no matter what you have to do. And for me, because I'm so close to God in my relationship, I sleep really well at night, because, you know, because I'm not somebody that intentionally sets out to deceive anyone. If I make a mistake, and everybody does, I'm quick to go to the Lord and repent for it, especially if it's brought to my attention. You know what I'm saying? But everybody doesn't have that checker in the spirit.
Man, energy is a dry snitch. So
Right. That's good. I like
if you
that.
just pay attention, people will tell you. I'm telling you, they will tell you it is the way they look, it's the way they act, their energy. You will vibe on that. If you're not so fast, boom, always in a hurry, trying to take off.
Right.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Right.
Wait for it. You know,
Right.
okay?
Right.
Wait for it because. You know, it's just, you gotta wait for it because if
Exactly.
not, you're gonna pay for it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
one of the two, they're both hard to do. It's hard to wait for the answer, but you know, it's really hard to pay for it too.
Right.
But we just, when we get on our own little decision what we're gonna do, it's
Right.
funny. God used to ask me all the time. He's like, Amber, when are you gonna let me have men in your life? I'm like, oh my God, I'm a matchmaker. I got this. Okay. So if you want to make God laugh, right?
Yes.
Tell him your plan. But okay, so let's talk about this is an article that I found in Business News Daily, Small Business Solutions and Inspiration. And this article is about 7 challenges that women entrepreneurs face and how we can really overcome them. The first one, I was saying that on paper, things have never looked better for female entrepreneurs. In fact, more than 11 million U.S. firms are now owned by women, employing nearly 9 million people and generating $1.7 trillion in sales, according to data from the National Association of Women Business Owners. But these numbers only tell part of the story. Women-owned firms are still the minority, and hurdles faced by women who have embraced entrepreneurship are vast and often very different than those experienced by their male counterparts. To shed some light on some of the disparities, we have gone through and asked female CEOs about the key challenges that women entrepreneurs face and how to come them. So the first thing that these CEOs have listed is defying social expectations. Most female business owners who have attended networking events can relate to this scenario. You walk into a crowded room, you to a crowded seminar and can count on the number of women that are there, on one hand usually. When women entrepreneurs talk about business with primarily male executives, it can be unnerving. In this sort of situation, women may feel as though they need to adopt a stereotypically male attitude toward business, competitive, aggressive, and sometimes overly harsh. But successful female CEOs believe that remaining true to yourself and finding your own voice are keys to rising above preconceived expectations. Be yourself and have confidence in who you are, says Hillary Jinja, founder and CEO of Trunkets. Oh, that's okay. I wonder what that is. We're going to check that out in a minute. You made it to where you are through hard work and perseverance, but most importantly, you are there. Don't conform to a man's idea of what a leader should look like.
Boy.
What do you guys?
Wow.
Yeah, when you were saying that, I immediately went straight there. I had a couple of guys that I looked up to that were ahead of me in the media.
Yeah.
And so I'm taking notes and learning and trying to get there. And, I'm all just humble, just receptive. Teach me, feed me. And I had several guys that reached out to me and said, hey, I like what you're doing. I want to sow into you. I want to mentor you. I want to, train you, teach you. One was Jeffrey Felber. And I just got a message from Jeffrey. Hey, Pam, I want him to call you. Because you're so busy, I see you. I'm like, no, Jeffrey, you can call me. Because Jeffrey's like this $9 million guy that LinkedIn just recently asked to come back out of retirement and help them.
Wow.
So that's the kind of people God connected with, not because of Pam, because of God and his plan for me. And so recently he reached out and I was like, yes, Jeffrey, I want like a baby bird, give me some more. But when I first started, he was a powerful mentor. And then Bill Ridden with Wall Street, he sold into me, just teaching me, and I was learning. Then I had other mentors that were doing something a little similar to what I was doing, that were teaching me. But then when I started raising up, and God started awarding me, recognizing me, TV, radio, and I humbly say this, it's not a brag, because trust me, the sacrifice was real, the suffering was real to get to this spot. It wasn't easy. To go back to what you were saying, that's it. I had people that were not very happy when I started rising up. They started trying to tell me to do it differently than what I was doing. I said, but why? I can't do it different because God gave it to me this way. It may not match what other magazines are doing, what other people are doing, but God is doing it this way. And I stuck with the Lord for a journey, and it wasn't easy. And then the recognitions and awards started coming because I stayed with the plan.
I'm just laughing because y'all know I got ADD by now. Y'all figured it out. But I just had a thought, Pam. Remember? So I started the Matchmaker Hotline on a digital radio station. Did that for a couple of years, and not even a couple of years, like a couple months, really. And then I moved to Arizona. It's really funny because then I tried to create a podcast out of it, and it just didn't come together. And Pam and I were sitting here like, what is going on with this? Because we want the hotline. And by the way, you guys can call into the hotline 281-587-1540. And it's so funny. We had one of our mutually close friends say to me, well, this must be a sign from God. It's not meant for you to do the hotline. But that is remember that? And now here we are, boom, even a bigger and better platform. Yeah. And I'm like, how are you going to tell me what God's told me is my truth? So you got to be very, very careful. I think we got to take a quick break in just a minute, but you got to be very careful who you listen to because that is their truth. You want to add anything real quick about that, Janice?
Just wanted to say the exact same thing that you are saying. You have to be very careful. Some people can twist the truth like the devil did in the Garden of Eden, where he twisted the truth just a little bit and caused Eve to kind of doubt what she knew was true. And people can do the same thing to us if we're not careful. It's
so true, you guys. We're going to take a quick break. We are talking about 7 challenges that women entrepreneurs face and how we can overcome them. If you guys want to find out more information about Marridate.com, go there now. Go to our Facebook page, Edge Radio Network. You can watch us live in studio. You're listening to Edge Radio at 101.7 FM, 1540 AM, here on the all-new Matchmaker Hotline. We'll be back right after this.
If you say what you want to say and let the words fall out, honestly, I want to see you be brave. What you want to say and let the words fall out, honestly, I want to see you be brave. Just want to see you, I just want to see you, just want to see you. I wanna see you be brave. Just wanna see you.
guys, welcome back to the Matchmaker Hotline. You're listening to Edge Radio at 101.7 FM, 1540 AM. I am your girl, Matchmaker Amber Neal. I'm in studio today with Janice Peterson and the lovely Pam Jones. I was about to call you somebody else, girl. I know her name. That's my girl. So we've been talking about the challenges of being a female entrepreneur. It is crazy out here. And the first thing we were talking about, in case you missed it, was about defying social expectations. At the end of the day, you are your brand. You created the product, or you know the product. Nobody knows it more than you. So don't listen to other people's ideas of how you should do this. Now, it's a difference if they're someone, like you said, Pam, some of your mentors has gone before you. They are where you want to be. They're proving those things. Not somebody that's just hater or jealous, or just, not really sure if they're in your corner. You got to be very careful what you allow into your mind, who you allow into influence your opinions and your thoughts, because you could easily, if I listened to somebody, we wouldn't even be sitting here right now. So, matter of fact, if I even go back 8 years ago, people were like, oh, you're a comedian, TV producer, you're a matchmaker, you're doing this, you're doing that, you edit, you're doing all these things. And I'm like, trust me, one day it will all feed each other. And it's so cool because now every day on the show, it themes to something that I'm doing. So, listen to God, not the naysayers, because there will always be plenty of those, right?
So true.
Okay, so number 2 thing that women in business struggle with is finding if there's like limited access to funding. According to the article, it says not all startup founders look for investors to help get their business off the ground, but those that do know the difficulty it comes to when pitching process can be. Raising capital is even more difficult for women-owned firms. In 2014, Babson College report found that less than 3% of venture capital funded companies had female CEOs. Wow. And then it says only 6% of U.S. firms. Women looking for business investors should build confidence through a great team. Business plan, recommends Crater. Investors typically look for businesses that can grow their valuation to more than $1 billion. Think about how to do that, she advised. If you have experts on your founding team that can execute your business well, investors will have confidence in those people, so you also need a good product to fit the market. And another way to overcome this issue is by working to get more female investors involved in supporting one another. According to Hansen, groups like hers are not only looking to not only inspire and encourage other female investors, but to grow and support other female entrepreneurs through both funding and strategic educational workshops. So it sounds, if women, this is a huge subject. And when it comes to women supporting other women, this is not just in business. I always say, in order for there to even be mistresses, somebody has to agree to that. You know what I mean? True. So if women would just be true to other women and quit competing like everything. And look, the same way you get them is the same way you lose them in a relationship. Absolutely. Okay, ladies? So I'm going to compete. I'm going to be as number 1. Well, guess what? That means he has a number 2. Okay. So it's just, what is all the competition about? Are we really that uncomfortable in our worth and who we are and feeling like we are enough that we have to go take someone else's man, let alone forget about trying to get each other to support each other in business? It's crazy. What is it? It's just like crabs in a barrel mentality. Like, why can't we all come out together? My blessing and your blessing and your gift and my gift. Why can't we have an abundance mentality?
Absolutely.
But I guess it's true that people just meet you at their level of expectation and understanding where they are.
Where they are. That's a mouthful, because that's exactly what's happening out there. Especially with myself, entrepreneur, the hardest thing was to work with women. I got more support from men than I did from women. It's really hard to get them to support you. That's why I'm an advocate about supporting my artists, my authors. I give scholarships out every year. And Janice was one of the recipients of our scholarships, because my fee is $950 low. I'm the low ball. It starts at 12 on up for what I do. And I come in at the lower place because the independent artists, they just don't have the funds.
Right.
They're still working on a job. They're still paying their bills. and it costs money to get those CDs out there. It costs money to get the books out there. You know,
Right.
it's not free, but they need help.
Yeah.
So how do they get the help? They have to come to people like us and others that are really sold out.
Absolutely.
First of all, you have to, like you said, the problem with most of the women is you have an issue within yourself.
Yeah.
You're not secure enough in who you are to open up to bring others into your circle. And if you're gonna do it God's way, you have to. It's like, give and it shall be given unto you. You're not gonna get anything if you don't give anything.
Absolutely.
It's a sow and receive type of situation, and that's biblical. You cannot
I believe
change that.
I believe
you know?
you give your way into wealth.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why we're such an advocate about giving scholarships out and supporting. Most of the artists that come my way, I give them scholarship, and then I reach out to others to sow into what I do. You know, so I get sponsorships when I put on the River Awards every year. I don't pay that out of my pocket. I get sponsorships, and then other people sow in. Some of my people, Janice is on into what we're doing. You know, because the last one we had recently, she helped out with the food part because somebody dropped the ball, and she's, oh, I got it. You know, that she started coming up, and God started giving her more to operate with. Yeah. So, you know, some of my artists will sow back into me as well. You know, my authors, because they saw what I did for them.
Exactly.
And I didn't expect anything but go do what I'm asking you to do. You know, if I've set you up, I'm giving you instructions, follow the instructions. But some women are hard headed. It's kind of hard to instruct women to follow your instructions. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to help you. And Janice is a witness. When she did what I asked her to do, no problem. The door's open, and even we got some more stuff she's gonna share. Some big stuff that's happened with some obedience. And sometimes it's a sacrifice, you know, because women, it's hard. And sometimes it's hard for me to receive from Janice, even though she's supposed to be my author. You know, I'm supposed to be managing and helping her. But then I have to learn to receive from her too, because we get fed by people.
Absolutely.
You know, so. I love that some women are coming together. Like Janice, I got some big plans. We've been working on a lot of things, but we're able to unite. We have to get past ourselves and look at what the bigger call and purpose.
That's key.
Back to that ego.
Absolutely.
Separate us.
Absolutely. And it makes all the difference in the world. And if we could just get women to understand, but I realize it has to do a lot with the foundation.
Right.
It starts when we're children. And if mom and dad or whoever is the parent in that child's life does not catch those little flaws with confidence and team building early on, because we're taught to compete. I remember when I was coming up as a little girl, I always had other little girls that were competing against me. But I was never competing with them.
Right.
Yes,
but I was always told, well, you're not this and you're not that. And I'm like, why do we do that?
Yeah.
When we should all be teaching, we should teach all of our little girls and even little boys, you know, to celebrate one another.
Yes.
You know, to everybody is a treasure.
Yes.
Everybody is of value. Everybody, you know, if you learn to edify and uplift each other and team build together as a child, you know, and work past the hurts, learn to forgive, learn to turn the other cheek, learn to resolve things, learn who needs to be in your circle, who does not need to be in your circle, learn how to disconnect without burning the bridge, so to speak, you know, and it has to do with effective communication and all that kind of stuff. That's a whole nother show. But at the beginning of, you know, but at the end of the day, the importance is we as women need to teach our little girls how to appreciate one another so that there's no competition. But you see, like I see my sister, Pam, I see what she's doing. I caught the vision and I'm like, you know what? I want to help her. You know, she's out there working and when you're sowing, there's a principle. If you sow, you will reap. You lose nothing by investing in people. You have nothing to lose by investing in people. It's going to come back. But it's the energy that you put into it. It's the thought that you put in it. It's what's in your heart. You know, and if we celebrate one another, there's plenty of room at the top. I mean, there's no need to say, I want to be at the top and I want to be the only one at the top. Okay, so who are you trying to be, God? You cannot be God.
I see, here's the thing too, you know, listen, ladies, it's very important to know the scripture, because if you know it, then you're going to know you don't have to compete with other women.
Exactly.
The number one thing women are catty over is men. And let me tell you something. If you know the scripture, you know the scripture said, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor with the Lord. It didn't say you got to fight your friend, you got to argue with your friend, you got to go to war with your friend, you got to look better than your friend, you got to steal a man from your friend. It didn't say none of that. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. So that right there tells you can have harmony and joy with other ladies around you and have an abundance mentality, because because what's for you can't be taken from you anyway.
cannot.
So why are you sitting here fighting over it? Because a real man wouldn't let you fight with him anyway.
Absolutely.
He would make other women jealous of you, not make you jealous of other women.
Exactly.
Okay,
That's good right there.
pass off and play. Okay, we're going to church today.
I love it.
So,
I love it.
but for real, like that's why so many people find themselves trying to be holy but don't know the word because they're sitting here. It's an act. And I'm so perfect, butterwet melt my mouth. Well, I ain't fixing to cast no stones around here, but you live in a glass house too. So it's just, you guys be happy for each other because it's so sad that women divide over finding love, because I'm telling you, if it's for you, there's nothing that can prevent that man from finding you.
Absolutely.
So you don't have to fight with other women.
Do not.
But God never sent you your man is someone else's husband.
Right.
Okay? Someone
Never.
else's husband is not your Boaz. Okay?
Absolutely.
It's not. So that's just not going to happen. So hopefully we can calm down a little bit when it comes to fighting with women over men.
We should.
But then when it comes to business, it's the same thing.
It is.
God will bless you with what's meant for you, and
Yes.
you do give your way into blessings.
Absolutely.
You do give your way into those things, and sometimes that's why you got to go slower.
Right.
Because if you're so anxious, you might have missed all those bouquet of red flags. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they were right there the whole time, but you was just so like, I got to get it, I got to make it. I'm hoping that with COVID, I'm hoping one of the good things, I feel there's been a collective consciousness. The spirituality is definitely more at the forefront. Families, love, the way things, I think God more intended it to be.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully this has allowed us time to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
But based on the traffic, people forgot just that quick. You know what I mean? But hopefully the ones that were meant to birth things through this travesty will be birthed. All I'm saying, guys, is anything for you can't be taken from you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to remain present.
Mm-hmm.
If you remain present, then that means you're not stuck in the past and you're not going far ahead.
Right.
But you're dealing with right now. What's going on with right now? Right now, you have to affirm yourself. Find the values within yourself, the things that you like about yourself. Ask yourself the question, does it really feel good to undercut another woman?
No.
For a business or either for a companion? I mean, does it really make you feel good? And if somebody says, well, yeah, it does, well, then, you kind of need help. You need help if you feel good about that. Because first of all, as you said earlier, what's for you is for you. So you don't have to fight for what belongs to you. If you remain present, guess what? As a woman thinks, so is she. You will begin to attract to yourself what belongs to you if you align yourself with the plan of God and you think like that. You're a person of integrity. Who doesn't want a man who's integrous?
Thank you.
Who doesn't want a man who's trustworthy?
Exactly.
But if you're undercutting another woman, I've heard other men say it. If he's watching what you did to get him, so guess what? He's not placing a whole lot of value on you. He's looking at you like, yeah, you're a bad girl, all right.
That's right.
But he's watching you because he sees some characteristics that are like, you know what? You're not the kind of woman that my mama would really be proud for me to have. So you're kind of undercut. And if you undercut this woman, who else would you not undercut? You may undercut me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he's thinking about that. So it's in the back of his mind. So we have to be careful how we approach things. If you just center yourself, remain present, and by that I mean just center yourself, slow down, embrace the reset, start afresh, anew. Wipe the slate clean and say, you know what? I waved goodbye to everything that was in 2019 and I begin fresh and I begin new, and I don't want to do things as I did before because I feel so worthy. I feel God has made me worthy of so much more. So I no longer want to settle with this kind of thinking that I feel like I got to undercut everybody to get ahead.
Exactly.
That is not the way to go.
Exactly.
That's it.
And that's the thing, I always tell people, if you didn't know me last week, you don't know me anymore, because my growth game is strong. I am not the same person I was even a week ago.
Yeah.
And that's because God is in control finally, and we're not here to judge. We're not here trying to be like, oh, holier than thou. I'm saying I've been there, done that, got the hat, got the shirt. been there, and I get it, and don't get you anywhere but heartbroken and disappointed.
Absolutely.
And if you just slow down, you're going to pay for it one way or the other. So it's better to reap a reward at the end of that.
Yes.
Okay, so we know that we've already, got social expectations to act like a man, think like a man, be like a man, right? And we know that we have limited funding as well. The number 3 thing is struggling to be taken seriously.
Yes.
At one time or another, most women CEO find themselves in a male-dominated industry or workplace that does not even want to acknowledge their leadership role. I remember when this was, I don't even know, did we move out there? Almost 16, 17 years ago. I was the GM for Time Warner before I even got into the dating industry. Almost 20 years ago. And I was the GM for Time Warner. I moved from Houston to Jacksonville, Florida to take over that job. I had like 100 techs in the field that were reported to me. Probably 70% of them quit the day I got there, and flat out told me I refused to work for a woman.
Wow.
Now, granted, I had the contract for 90% of the city's collections for Comcast and Time Warner. So if you want to work, you're going to come work for me. I'm like, you'll be back. I'm the only one that's going to give you a job in the city, so I'll wait. And sure enough, most of them came back.
Yes.
But they had to eat crow at that point. I'm like, what is so bad about working for a woman?
Right.
But we've all experienced that to a degree. But it was just saying that as a female entrepreneur in a male-dominated industry, earning respect has been a struggle. This was especially difficult for Gutterman, who faced presumptions that she was living off her father's and grandfather's reputation. She said, I was more than willing to put in the work to create my own reputation for being a hardworking, honorable business person in my own right. To overcome this, I've had to learn to build my confidence and overcome my negative self-talk. Those negative comments that have built up in your head that are stopping you from reaching your full potential. To combat them, she's joined a variety of women entrepreneur groups. These groups have provided me mentors and peers to inspire me, hit me with reality checks on capabilities and successes that will help grow and learn from their outside perspectives and experiences. Man, there's been a lot of networking groups that women start that are just catty as all get out.
That is so
and
true.
backstabbing and not real, and
Yeah.
it's really not about what it seems like. It's really just another way to make money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But one of the things she said is she has to overcome that negative self-talk, and that just goes back to, as a woman thinks, so is she. And I think I really believe in affirming, and I am, and those things you tell yourself, because everything in the world is going to tell you you're not, and the enemy's going to try to trick you and trap you and make you think it's never going to happen. So I think it's not only you got to master the self-talk, but you've got to master quickly discerning who's in your camp.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And you also want to, I even guard my mind on what I listen to on the radio, what I watch on TV. You've got to make sure you're only feeding positivity into your mind.
So important.
That's why reality shows are so popular, because everybody loves to see somebody else doing worse than them. Somehow it makes them feel better about themselves as the next man is doing bad. But that's what people don't get. We're all here actually to serve and help each other.
This is so true.
Yeah. Very true.
It's just a different mentality.
Yeah. One of the things that keep coming to my mind about with women is a real big key. If they could just turn this lock and open the gate, it'll be a lot better. Is to accept people where they are. Not to come in and try to make people what you want them to be. Because no man knows the whole plan that God has for another person's life. Nobody.
Exactly.
Prophet, apostle, nobody. He only gives us things in parts, with pieces of a puzzle. So the thing that God has taught me through this year, from last year coming into this year, and Janice, I've talked about it a lot, is the position. God has an anointed position for all of us to sit in. And as women, if we would get that in our head, put the fire of the Holy Ghost above the Lamb. I always say it's right, Janice, the fire of the Holy Ghost above the Lamb of your wounded soul.
Yes.
Get that dealt with. Then you'll be able to receive other women and not try to put them where you think they should be, or give them titles, or try to cut them down.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that women do with their wounded soul. But the main thing is we all have an anointed position that God has given us. And we are to respect that position. That doesn't mean the person come in perfect. That doesn't mean the person's coming with all the bells and whistles. Some people come in raggedy. But whichever way they're whichever way they're coming in, we can't fix them. We're not
Drag it in.
it's a matchmaker hotline. It's not the matchmaker fix it up. But we're just here to help you understand. Work on you and stop trying to work on everybody else. That's God's business.
Exactly.
We're just to love them where they are, and whatever gift they have, because the gifts and talents are there. They're without repentance. Let's put your gift, my gift, your gift, and even your daughters back there. And let's put them all together and let's build the empire here on earth. That's what it's really about. It's not about, oh, I don't like Amber because she has long, pretty blonde hair. She's got nice racks and all that. No, we're not worried about all that. She's beautiful. She's attractive. She's sexy. But we're not worried about that. We're tired. We're really concerned about what's God put in Amber that can help Janice, Pam, and her daughter build up on this empire. What do the women out there have, the gifts and talents that we can pull together and quit worrying about the dumb stuff? She's too tall. I don't like her. Oh, she got too much. I don't like her. Oh, her husband is fine and cute, so she thinks she's all that. No, who cares about that caddy? Oh, we in high school.
I wonder sometimes. I mean, I really do. It's kind of out of control. Number 4, owning your accomplishments. That when we talk about ourselves, we want to make sure that she says I've had to catch myself on occasion when I notice that I'm giving away too much without a financial commitment from a potential client. So you want to help. But you've got to also own your accomplishments and know your worth and what to charge. I actually had someone inbox me yesterday and assume that I wasn't making money doing what I'm doing. And she's like, oh, you need to do this. You can take this sales course and this or whatever. I'm like, do you know what I charge for matchmaking? And do you know I just picked up 3 new PR clients this month? You should never insult someone if you're trying to get them as a client. That's number 1. Because some people come and think, oh, well, you're terrible and I'm going to save you. That's just going to turn people off.
Exactly.
You got to have a humble spirit.
Yes.
People will know if you're really about their money or you're really about helping them. And then I've had people on LinkedIn literally don't even say hello. Here's my pitch. And it's like, do you want to buy something? And I'm like, hello, how are you? Do you, are you human? Is this a robot?
Yes.
You cannot take the relationship out of the relationship business. But when you got to know your worth, or no one else will. And we teach people how to treat us. Don't apologize for your prices. You have earned it. And like Pam, you put in the work. You've earned your stripes to come back and say, this is what I charge to help you, because even though it's cost money, it's still less than other people that are just only about money would charge, And really, for me, I look at matchmaking. Yeah, matchmaking is expensive. It is like finding a needle in a haystack. You're only compatible with 3% of the people you meet. But if you do the math, the average cost of a date is $200, $300 if you go out to dinner and movies, popcorn, all that stuff. And then if you had 100 women, you got to pay for 97. The average cost of $200 or $300. You pay for a matchmaker.
Yeah.
But you don't have the time. So it's really teaching people to evaluate what matters the most. And then when you have busy entrepreneurs, millionaire matchmaker, that means I cater to people that are very, very successful, and they value time more than money. So I think it's just really about how can someone come in and say, you're not charging enough, or you're charging too much, or how can you justify that? Because it's what I've earned it for 15 years of proven experience. I've done the work. Now it's time to charge, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm scared to ask for that. I don't know if I should ask for that. Man, please get out of here with that.
Absolutely.
You can always drop if you're feeling comfortable.
Absolutely.
But how are you going to know if you don't start somewhere?
That's so true.
No, own your accomplishments, okay? Don't, be proud of that. You have worked. And it's funny because when I would get some awards and things, I would go to my dad and he was like, well, how much money did you get with that? I'm like, you don't get it, Dad. Like, I'm building a brand. Like, this has nothing to do with money. This is about honor and being recognized in the community. Then you go get the money. But anyway, number 5, building a support network. So we got about 3 minutes where we have to take a break, but we'll jump in just the topic, building a support network. Having a support network is probably the number one thing. I would think you really have to do as women in business. I mean, because the real people, like Pam has been that person for me for sure, that real person that no matter what's happened in life, she stayed solid. She stayed the same. She's been consistent about being consistent. And those are the things that you value, especially when you're kicked down. Everybody gets kicked down.
Yes.
If people walk around on fake book pretending that they're perfect and their life is great all the time, they're a fraud. Okay, it's fake book. But you know how many people out here driving Rentleys trying to pose like they got money. It's just like people care too much what other people think instead of building it back into their time. But build a very strong, solid network. We're going to go ahead and take a break, and then we come back. We're going to talk about how a couple more things that we can do as entrepreneurs to definitely help us overcome some of the challenges of being women in the workplace. So you guys are listening to Edge Radio on 101.7 FM, 1540 AM on the all-new Matchmaker Hotline. You guys can call us. We'd love to hear from you today, 281-587-1540. And for more information about Marridate, go to marridate.com or amberneal.com, and we'll be right back after the break.
It felt so long in your company, but that was love to make us still remember. You can get addicted to a certain kind of sadness, like resignation to the end, always the end. So when we found that we could not make sense, well, you said that we would still be friends, but I'll admit that I was glad it was over.
This is KGBC, Galveston, Houston, 1540 AM, and K269GS, Pasadena, 101.7 FM.
Been feeling a little edgy lately? Listen to Edge Radio. That'll push you over the top. 1540 AM and 101.7 FM.
Today, I want to speak with you about coronavirus and what it means for you and your family. While changes need to be made now, this is not how we will live forever. Our children will return to school, people will return to work, we will gather at the places of worship, concerts, and sporting events again. I urge you to stay connected to family and loved ones through the video chats, phone calls, social media, and other safe technologies. Please be sure to follow CDC guidelines, which can be found at coronavirus.gov or cdc.gov, along with other information and resources. Stay safe. And remember, while many of us are apart, we are all in this together.
Been feeling a little edgy lately? Listen to Edge Radio. That'll push you over the top. 1540 AM and 101.7 FM.
Hello, I'm Larry David. Obviously, somebody put me up to this. Generally not the kind of thing I do, but I basically want to address the idiots out there, and you know who you are. You're going out. I don't know what you're doing. You're socializing too close. It's not good. You're hurting old people like me. Well, not me. I have nothing to do with you. I'll never see you. But let's say other old people who might be your relatives. Who the hell knows? But the problem is you're passing up a.
Hey guys, welcome back to the all-new Matchmaker Hotline here on Edge Radio, 101.7 FM, 1540 AM. It's your girl, Matchmaker Amber Neal. We are live in studio with Janice Peterson and my girl, Pam Jones. Welcome back to the show. Okay, so we were talking about 7 challenges that women entrepreneurs face. We were down to number 6 and 7. Balancing business and family life. Wow, this is a really sensitive one for me because, Marridate is goal is secure the divorce rate. And one of the topics we've been talking about is how 70% of children that come from single parent homes wind up in jail, dead, drugs, depressed. I mean, the kids are shooting up the schools now. I mean, like when are we going to really put a focus on mental health, which is what we really like to focus on Tuesdays here. And balancing business and family life, because parent entrepreneurs have dual responsibilities now.
Absolutely.
Before it was the man would go to work, the woman stayed home. There were gender roles. They were easy to identify. And one of the things I liked about when you were here before, Pam, and you were really making it very clear how to spot that right kind of Boaz, right?
Yes.
But parent entrepreneurs have dual responsibilities now to their businesses and to their families. Finding ways to devote time to both can be quite challenging, but the key is to truly achieve those elusive work-life balances. Finding the balance meant leaving a corporate job and starting her own consulting business before her first child was born. Garrett, public relations firm CEO. She said, I knew that if I had continued to work in the corporate world, that I would have had to make a lot of choices I didn't want to make.
Yeah.
I do think the culture of work is shifting to allow women more flexibility, and men too. They're honoring the Family Leave Act more. Which is a good thing, but working for yourself will probably always be the best option to allow more freedom. And that's one thing I wanted you to kind of touch back on, Pam, when you were talking about when Boaz found Ruth and how she was working and going to market and working with her hands and working from home.
Yes. In the biblical sense, Boaz was the pillar. He was the top man. He was the doorkeeper. Everybody looked up to him. So here is Ruth coming to his town with his kinsman, Naomi. So they arrived there after Ruth's husband died, and she's working in the field. And Boaz just sees her working, being integral, taking care of his, I don't know if his cousin or what, but taking care of his kinsman, I'll put it like that. Mm-hmm. And he's watching this woman, he's like, who is this damsel? But she was out there in the field doing it, and she was not being selfish. She was not being stingy. Oh, I got mine, she get hers. No, she made sure she worked hard enough and long enough to also supply for Naomi, another woman. Mm-hmm. That was only her mother-in-law. She didn't have to do that. So this right-hand man says, oh, that's your near kinsman. She came with Naomi, and she works in the field, and da-da-da-da. And he's blowing her up with all these accolades. And Boaz is like, So she's got a good name
Uh-huh.
too. She kept her reputation while she worked, and she was humble. She wanted to work. She didn't want to be handed anything. You know, even though he had all the wealth, she didn't need to work if he decided he wanted to be with her, in which he did. But she was working in the field, and she was also giving and sharing and thinking about another woman while she was doing it.
See, let that be an example. That's everything
Right.
we touched on.
Right.
It's like you were saying, God's
Right.
going to see, that man's going to see how
Absolutely.
your character.
Yes.
The fact that she was taking care of her mother-in-law with her husband had passed, she didn't have to do
It's
that.
volumes.
That's huge.
Yes.
So I think your character will definitely show. And I think when you have those kind of marriages that are based on givers and genuine people and people with integrity, I think finding a solution to work out those work-life balances won't be as hard because you aren't coming in from a selfish perspective.
Right.
You got to fight with a mate that's always thinking about their career and only them and too bad and who cares about your career. Now, one thing I want to clarify is specifically a helpmate position.
Yes.
Because a lot of women don't really understand how that works as entrepreneurs. If we are married to a husband that is an entrepreneur, how, as a helpmate, are we supposed to support them? What do you say, Pam?
As a helpmeet, the first thing is to understand what that means. A lot of people think, oh, you're gonna be my helpmeet, so you'll do what I say. I'm the man.
Yeah.
All that caveman bull. No. So, but being a helpmeet to a man of God is to understand, what did God call him to do? What did God put in you as a woman? And Janice understands this because we've talked about it. But what did God put in me, Amber, you, as a woman that has the gift and talent to come along and help this man fulfill his purpose and assignment in the land? And while you go help him look good out at the gate with the other men in the city in entrepreneurial positions, or even if they're working for somebody corporate, it doesn't matter where God has placed that man to work, or if he's an entrepreneur like Boaz was, who has all his own land and cattle and all that. It doesn't matter what position he is in, but what did God put in you as a woman? That's the help me that women are missing, because they're like, oh, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. I got my own business. I don't care what they say. I have to do what they say. Yeah. No, God wants you to submit to the man as it is in the Lord, and that's what people miss it. If you're gonna be a help me, you have to submit yourself to that husband. But you got to first be submitted to God in order to do that, because God's going to tell you how to be the wife, how to be the helpmeet that man needs to fulfill the assignment that heaven can be pulled down to the earth. That's what people miss. They just think, oh, I'm just going to go to work. I'm going to have this big house. I'm going to have these cars. We're going to have all these diamonds and furs. We're going to these parties. That is not your purpose. That's your enjoyment of the fruit of your labor. That's okay. But the first primary purpose as a helpmeet is, what did God tell you to do to help that man be successful in this land?
It's interesting because I've had it phrased like, let's say that we meet.
Yes.
And we both have our own businesses. I've heard a preacher say that your first job, if you want to be married, see, because this is the key word. If you want to be married, if you don't want to be married, then you're going to join the group of women that say, I don't need a man, I don't care what a man thinks, and forget him, okay? But if you want to be married, then your first obligation is to him before yourself as your own career. Do you agree with that?
Yes, it's very true, because it's biblically set that way. Your first obligation is to be to your husband. The Proverbs 31 woman made sure her household was taken care of first.
Right.
She made sure she got up early. She made the food. She made sure her servants were taken care of. Her children were taken care of. And she dressed and groomed and made sure her husband was ready and sent him out looking good, girl. She took care of her man. Now, he provided, but she made him look good to go out first. She rose up early. Key point. I know everyone don't like early mornings, but it's okay.
Can I find a night out?
We can have the evening women too now. Because some men don't like to rise up early, so your husband have to be the afternoon people. But the key to that whole issue there is, she had gifts and talents that she used, and she would go to market, but not before she took care of her husband.
Right.
Not before she was submitted to her household. And God honored that, because when she went out, they called her blessed. People knew who she was. And she went to the market with what she made at home, her entrepreneurship skills, what she did at home, she would take it out and market it. So yes, you can market, you can have a job. Men thinking women can't work, that's not biblical. Women can work.
Absolutely.
But the man should be the provisionary for the household. His primary job is to protect and take care and secure that household. Her job is to make sure he gets it done and gets it done well, looking good. And then without like, that is the worst thing you can do. God hates murmuring and complaining. So please stop, women. Please stop giving us those bad titles. Men think we're just complainers. But yeah, that's what a proverb woman would do. That's what a helpmeet would do. Submit to God, submit to your husband, as it is in the Lord, men. Because you have to be a king too.
Yeah,
you have to be processed
Absolutely.
too. You have to look like God looks according to the word. God said he made you in his image and likeness. So if you're not looking like that, it's hard for her to submit to that.
Absolutely.
So you have to be processed as well and in position as a king. So your queen can come on and say, yes, babe, I got you. Don't worry about it. I got you.
Yeah, a lot of people just
It's
don't
easy.
understand that role. And that's why I say if you want to be married, there's
Yes.
definitely a role to that.
Yes.
But don't submit to a joker. That's why you got to slow down. Make sure it ain't a build-a-boo. Make sure it's somebody that you actually can submit to, okay? Because you can't just submit to anybody. You got to make sure that you check in your spirit and that God gives you that confirmation that that is the right person. Because let me tell you, ladies, and men really, the wrong relationship... Hallelujah. The wrong relationship will destroy you, distract you, take you off your path. It will make you it will call you to miss your calling.
Yes.
And you got to be smart, man. Them tricks of the enemy, woo! He knows what you want just as much as God does. And you know, that when I meet a man nowadays, he says, I'm spiritual. I'm like, well, so is the devil. So, who sent you?
Okay.
Because you got to find out. You can't want it so bad that you're going to violate everything that you know is to be true.
Right.
But back to the work-life balance. I think it really is when you have a true spiritually based foundation. I think you can work through anything.
Yes.
And I think these are things that if you don't let Les lead and you don't just jump into bed and ask questions later, and you find out, hey, what's your last name and what do you want to do and what are your spiritual beliefs, and if we have kids and who's going to work. If you slow down and you actually talk about all these things, you probably won't fight about it as much when it actually comes up.
Absolutely.
And the last thing here is, one of my favorite songs is the breakup song by Francesca Battistelli. I say her last name wrong, Battistelli. Anyway, it's Fear You Don't Own Me. And it's basically saying coping with a fear of failure. Fear is so crippling. 90% of the things we fear never even happen. Fear will own you. It can destroy you. It can hold you back. And it's all in your mind. You got this little cage in your mind you built up of fear. It's not even real. Have you guys had to overcome some fear before? Has that been a challenge?
Absolutely. And I love the acronym that has been, used so many times over and over relative to that, because fear is actually false evidence appearing real.
Yes, that's a good one. I like that. Yes.
And so, yes, there are many times where I've shrinked back because of fear. Fear was I was intimidated by what I did not need to be intimidated by. But this is the key thing. This is why you have to know who you are.
Yes.
When you know who you are, you're confident in who you are, and you're not trying to prove anything to anybody. You're just being true to yourself. And what better way to present yourself to the world than to present your true self? You're not trying to be anybody that you're not. If you come up against a situation that is intimidating, I like what you said, just slow down.
Yeah.
And you can tell whether you need to move forward or whether you need to just stand still and wait on God. And really God does speak. He's speaking all of the time.
Yes.
But we don't always listen. And what we're looking for is this voice that says, "Don't go." It doesn't come like that, or run, or either not him, or something like that. It doesn't come like that, but it'll come in ways like, for instance, something on the inside, as some people say, is really the Spirit of the Lord whispering to you, saying, "Take it slow. Look at that right there. That doesn't align with your values."
Yes.
look at that right there. You don't need to be intimidated by that. Go ahead and move forward in what you have. Don't pay attention to what they're saying. Don't pay attention to the competition or the comparisons that are taking place. You move on in, because many times God will use you in your feeling of being inferior to everybody else. God will use you. The Bible says he takes the weak and confound the wise. Yes. So sometimes what you think is little and minute will be huge, and God will take that little and minute feeling of yours and move you in and cause you to be the bright shining light, and everybody will say, oh my God. You've ever heard the saying, small is really big? You know, when people come in really grand, sometimes God is like, that's too much. I don't need all of that. I just need you to present yourself and let me be God. And when you show up, you know, it's so awesome in that we can be secure in who we are. And so, the fear is in your mind. If you focus, you center yourself, and you careful about your thoughts. Now, this is one key thing that I like to encourage everybody with. Before you begin your day, you need to meditate on the word of God. Meditate. Put on your spiritual repellent so that whatever is coming, whatever is coming at you, then you're already guarded from those thoughts and those things that try to move you off of your foundation of confidence within yourself. And that confidence is really within God that's in you. And so when you're facing intimidating things or when you're facing fear, you can just keep moving. And then fear dissipates because you're operating in that energy of truth and confidence.
It's faith or fear. You have to choose one. You know, it's definitely it's that clear. And you know, one of the things we're going to jump into next in the show is 10 behaviors of genuine people, because I don't know about y'all, but I just can't stand fake people. Like I just like that is just I can't, like I have no filter for it. I will just ghost you and be gone, because I'm not going to sit here and argue with that kind of nonsense and foolishness. And I think one thing we got to remember is that God loves everyone, even our enemies. Everyone. But he loves those that are righteous. He loves those that are trying to do right. So when God judges the heart, you know, like I think of all these different countries in the world that are all praying to God, and they all feel so wronged, and it's just like God loves everyone. That's what you got to understand. Like, it's not you because you're this or that or whatever. That's good. He loves everyone the same. And I think that one thing God probably don't like either is fake people either. I mean, especially if you're walking around pretending to be holier than thou, and then what you do in the dark will come to light, you know. So let's talk about some behaviors of genuine people and why it's so important in business, and continuing this theme of our work-life balance. The number one thing, a behavior of a genuine person, is that they don't seek attention. Now, some people say, well, you're always on social media and you're always da-da-da-da. That's business. I promise you one thing. If I didn't have a business, I wouldn't be on social media. Social media has caused more problems than it's helped us. It's great to have connections to our old friends and classmates, but the problem is that people are logging off of their marriage and getting into new relationships. And I really laughed when Facebook created a dating app. I'm like, Facebook's been a dating app about 2 years after it came out. What are you talking about? I get hit on LinkedIn. I'm like, really? Like, this is like, okay, dude, like, okay. But don't seek attention. We're here to be servant leaders. We're here to help each other. Right. And so people that are just doing things, and y'all know I'm a comedian, so I kind of get kind of cuckoo, a little crazy. But I'm going to behave today. But y'all know how I get. So, like, there was a guy who was doing a fundraiser, and he raised $200. It cost more to print the big life-size check that he bought. You know what I mean? That's fake. Don't do that. If you're going to give out of the goodness of your heart. Don't go see, I love when Jim Carrey, he was like, you know, people taking their cell phones and they're like posing while they're giving somebody $20. You know what I mean? That ain't it either. Right. You know, there's all these fake things that you're doing to make you feel better about yourself or make you look good. When if you're a genuine person, you won't do things that seek attention like that.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Especially in the field with us being in the media, like in music, and that comes pretty heavy. That want to be seen. They're singing like a lark. One of the birds that sings the greatest is the thornbird, who sticks himself with the thorn. He presses his breast on it on purpose and sings better than any of the other birds in the world, and he dies. And that's exactly what happens to people. They don't realize it while they're going through it. Janice can witness to this because she's been in music for a minute. Is getting out there and putting yourself out like, I'm all this grand thing, like
Look at
you
me,
said.
worship me.
And you do everything, sell your soul to the devil to have it.
Mhm.
And then there's death, no life after, there's no multiplication then. Or it's not always a physical death, but it could just be a death in life.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, all that will crash down. Then what do you have to turn to? You don't have God because you weren't serving Him. You don't have any friends because you use them all up just to get what you wanted. So it doesn't work. You really have to, a genuine person is going to be, I love the word you used earlier, servanthood.
Yes.
You're going to be a servant first. You're going to seek to help others first. That's going to be a genuine person right away. When you see that, and I'm not talking about doing it to be seen, because there are those that give to be seen and rewarded. We're not talking about you. And even with myself,
Ever.
social media puts you out there. I'm not trying to put myself out there.
Yeah.
You know, doors just open because I do what's right, you know,
Exactly.
by people. I'm not trying to be seen and recognized, but it comes with the territory when you're doing work like we do in the media. It's part of the package. But but as God is my witness, the people that I've helped and served, if they tell the truth, I went to bat for them. You know, I wasn't going to try to get all your pocket. I wasn't going to try to get all this prestige and image. I genuinely served because it was ministry for me. Doing what I do is ministry, and that's another genuine thing. If the person is being a good servant, then they're not going to look for all that other stuff. They're not going to have an attachment to it. I did this for you, Pam, so you should do this for me.
Yeah,
that's
tit
not
for
genuine.
tat.
Yeah, no.
It's not. I mean, that's been the hardest thing in this journey for me, is just finding out who some of the people are that just backstabbed. I mean, or just that jealous. I'm like, if you're jealous now, when I'm not really even doing anything, you're really gonna be mad about a year from now. Stay tuned, keep watching.
Yes,
But genuine. Another one is number 2. They do not concerned with being liked. Oh my God, people live for that. Like, it is like an obsession. It is unhealthy. It is not good. I mean, people are literally doing things for the gram and to be liked. And it's one thing if you're trying to promote your business and you're trying to get there. I get that. But just for the sake of being popular,
Yes.
like, were you not popular in high school? Like, so many people out here acting like they were in high school.
Yes.
And it's like a popularity contest. And at the end of the day, who cares how many people like you? You're not going to please them all.
Yeah.
You could do a million great things, and there's going to be one troll or one person that's going to have something negative to say.
Absolutely.
You might as well be genuine. You might as well be authentic and be true to yourself.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I agree wholeheartedly. And one of the most dangerous things is to be a people pleaser. Because when you are a people pleaser, most of the time it's because you suffer from low self-esteem.
That's right.
And you have also an identity crisis.
That's right.
Because you're busy trying to please everybody. But
Yeah.
if you know who you are and you know what your call is, you're going to be busy about being true to that. And you won't
Exactly.
concern yourself about who likes you and who doesn't like you. Because one thing about it, God has people ordained to help you.
That's right.
You know, and you are ordained, we are all ordained to help others.
That's right.
Yes.
And so if we stay in the mindset of, I've got to keep working because I know God called me to help someone, and God has also called people to help me.
That's right.
And if you remain faithful, you're eventually going to cross paths. And you'll, especially if you think like that, you've got to, this is why I'm such a stickler on about how you're thinking, because that energy means everything. And so if you're out to please people, you'll sell your soul.
You really are. I mean, that's their truth. That's their truth. They cannot adopt it as yours. You know, my grandma just told me basically, if you just fall for anything, you just don't really have those convictions. You're not really true to your convictions. So many times I've seen women that will meet a man and completely change her whole religious beliefs, her whole everything, just because her God is being married, not having a godly man.
Yes.
Big difference,
Yes.
you know.
Big
Anything that you feel like you have to have in order to be happy,
Yeah.
the enemy can use to keep you miserable. And then that goes for anything. Anything that you put before God. Look at all the sporting events, the celebrities, all the idols that we've had in this world are like, phew, now we've got to go back to family and the way things were meant to be. And it's great to have entertainment, don't get me wrong, but not at the cost of it being your God.
Right.
You know, that sort of thing. And that's what makes people fake is, look what watch I'm wearing, look what car I'm driving, look what I'm in, look at me. This world is ego-based. This world is the opposite of love, which is selfless, a lot of long suffering, kind, and you go through Corinthians. And if you're caught in a relationship and you don't know if it's love or not, put that person's name in front of love is, and that'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you know if you're dealing with love or lust, because love can look like lust in the beginning, but it's not going to be the same thing in the end.
Right.
The number 3, 10 behaviors of genuine people. Number 3, they can tell. They can. I misread it, but
scared to hear this one.
They can tell when others are full of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know, and Pam, you know us. I mean,
Yes, ma'am.
Lord, Pam has to pray for me to hush sometimes, but I can tell if you're full of it because I am slowed down enough that my discernment's going to go. Energy's a dry snitch. It's not going to happen. But it's when you ignore that energy, when you see it and you know it, but you feel like you've got to have it more than you need the truth.
Right.
Yes.
You're going to get caught up.
That's so
I'm trying to tell you, if you just slow down and pay attention, you can tell when people aren't being genuine.
That's so true.
Oh, yeah.
And then number 4, they are comfortable in their own skin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's true. I mean,
So
people,
true.
it's just happy. We all have things about ourselves we're trying to change. We lose a little weight here, get rid of some wrinkles here or there. But for the most part, we're comfortable in our skin. We're happy in who we are. Yeah, absolutely. Someone who's consistent about being consistent is a very good clue that they'll be genuine with you at all times. And number 5, before we take a quick break, is they do what they say and they say what they mean.
Yes.
Ooh, I am
This
a
is so
stickler
true.
for that.
Yes.
I mean, probably too far. You said. But no, I'm just kidding. But, people are going, I always think, what would people say when you're gone? What kind of legacy, what kind of memory do people have of you? And are they going to say she was a kind person, she gave, you know what I mean? Or is it going to be, man, she was all about herself. And so that's why it's really important to do what you say what you mean, because at the end of the day, all you really have in this world is your word and your relationships. And you cannot take the relationship out of the relationship business, whether it's finding love or being equally yoked in a work relationship. We're going to take a quick break, you guys. When we come back, we're going to finish talking about 5 more behaviors of genuine people. You are listening to Edge Radio at 101.7 FM, 1540 AM on the all-new Matchmaker Hotline. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. 281-587-1540. We'll be right back after this.
Something you said, I just died in your
Hey guys, welcome back into the all new Matchmaker Hotline. You're listening to Edge Radio Network. You can watch us on Facebook. You can rewatch us on Facebook if you didn't catch it live. Also go to edgeradionetwork.com. We're streaming there as well. Today we are in studio with Janice Peterson and Pam Jones, and we're talking about 10 behaviors of genuine people, because in business, personal relationships, you know, if you're really the same, and you can tell me and be brutally honest, I feel like I am 100% the same all the time.
Yes.
On air, off air.
Good and bad.
No, good and bad. Good and bad. You know, but I own that. Like
Yes.
I can't. I've never been able to deal with fakeness. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I'm the kind of person I'll own. These are my sins. These are where I fall short. These are my flaws. Because at the end of the day, nobody should be judging me anyway. No, it's a difference in saying, hey, I want to help you grow and help you spiritually and that sort of thing. But I think that being genuine is to just come in with who you are. So many people hide in shame of what they've been through, when if you would allow God to use that and heal, like you said, you got to heal from those wounds so that you can get past the shame. But bigger than that is being authentic, and then past that is being vulnerable.
Yeah.
And you can never get to that place of being vulnerable where you can help people if you're not willing to be a genuine person about who you are, what you struggle with, and what you've been through.
So true.
One of the things that we have to be very careful about, you said two things. One is the person telling what they've been through, and the other thing, the person being healed. And that's so important. Don't dive out and start telling all your testimony and you're not healed and strong enough. Because a person can go in deeper depression, even suicide, because they put it out there, and then the world just starts ostracizing them for it, judging them for it. And if you're not healed and strong and know who you are, and you're strong in the power of God's might, then that can be dangerous for you. So I encourage you to make sure you're healed and process the testimony, the trials, the hardship, the hurts. Process that through to where you if it comes up, it doesn't even bother you anymore. Because Janice knows, I'm like, I'll be ready to fight in a heartbeat. I'm raw. I'm just like, I'm my daddy's child, but I'm saved by grace. But that fight is still in me, Like, girl, what you like?
Yes, buddy, I forget I'm on the radio, and I'm like, what are you looking at? And I'm like,
But the thing of it is, if you say something about me, I'm going to deal with you. I mean, I'm going to check you about it, but I'll love you right behind it if you let me.
Right.
Now, if you just keep on, if I talk to you about it and we work it out and you just keep on going, okay, well, my door is closed.
That's
now.
on purpose.
But I'm healed from the process of the hurts and things I've gone through to the point where I can talk about it now. I can talk about the being molested. I can talk about the divorce. I can talk about the failure of relationships. And it doesn't bother me what you say about it, because 9 times out of 10, you got a whole lot of skeletons and stuff in your closet too. Nobody's innocent and nobody's perfect. But the key to it is make sure you're ready to handle telling it.
Right.
If you're going to give it, it's going to come back. Be ready to handle the dish back.
Absolutely.
Well, you're right about that. When I wrote my book, I uploaded it on Amazon, and then I took it down because I was like, I wasn't ready. I knew I was like, I'm not ready. I'm not over it yet. Like I'm not, and that's why I went out and healed myself in the desert for that year. And I was like, okay, because God told me, He's like, you've got to heal. You've got to heal. You're going to miss your calling. You're going to miss your blessing. You have to teach first. You have to understand. And when I started Marridate, the dream of curing the divorce rate was because of what I went through as a child with my parents getting married and divorced 3 times. But what I didn't realize, and I always thought I had to be married, and I was going to be married at all costs because I thought that's what it meant, But the thing is that it was never about me being married. It was about me being healed so that I can teach healthy attracts healthy.
Yes.
Right. When you're two toxic, broken people, you're going to get more of that.
That's so true. That is so true.
And I think, and so now I'm ready to talk about, because now I've healed from that, and I understand what made me attract those certain relationships in my past. Because as someone who's very, empathetic and a healer and somebody. I'm drawn to heal people and I'm drawn to rescue. But no more Build-A-Boos, okay? And we're not doing that no more. But it's just, we got to stay true to ourselves, ladies, because one thing I can tell you is a personal testimony. I promise you will miss your calling. You will miss it if you do not listen to who God says to have into your life.
Absolutely.
On every level,
That's so true.
friends, family, even your family. Sometimes you got to love your family from afar.
Oh, this
You're over here trying to break generational curses, and they're the ones jumping on your back. And you're like, no, I'm trying to do this for us.
Yes.
You know? But understand, people can only see you at their level of understanding. So you can sit here and preach till you're blue in the face and try to get somebody some knowledge.
That's right.
But they're not there yet.
Right.
That's right.
You know, so save it and just use that energy for helping other people.
Absolutely. That is good.
Number 6, they don't need a lot of stuff. Genuine people. You know, one of the things that I can tell you guys a story about. I as well have earned many awards from my peers through the years. And I remember when I was specifically leaving this relationship, God told me go. Like, it was just one of those things like, go now, go. And I was going, and I literally had the nerve to tell God, I'm like, well, but what about my awards? What if they get broken or whatever? And God told me, those are for men.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. I said the same thing too. I'm like, but you know, God, let's just, worked hard on a little something, show what I've done, And God's like, go. They'll be okay. Those are from men. You need to learn to separate yourself from any accolade that has nothing to do with me. Wow. And I'm like, oh my God. So I left my awards there, and they were okay. But God keeps separating me from things. And more things. Oh, you think you have to have this, you have to have that, you have to have this to be happy.
Yeah.
No. Look at Jesus's walk. I mean, I really keep going back to that, and it's like Jesus wasn't about none of that. You know what I mean? I mean, it comforts. Yes. He even chose to be here when there wasn't air conditioning. I mean, thank you for that. Okay. I think I probably would have came now, but I'm just saying. But it's really about getting rid of, and don't let things be your God. Yes. I know people who have gone through severe abandonment issues. Their thing is ordering things like products and gifts, like that makes them feel they attach to things instead of people. So do you guys have anything that you've gone through on that level where you've had to learn to kind of let go of things?
Oh, Janice, you have a good one about your storage and all that.
Oh, yeah. I never will forget, I left a marriage that I was in for almost 20 years. I walked away at the 15th year. And of course, all of my things went into storage. And I never will forget when I got ready when I filed for divorce, I went to the storage to actually go through some things. And the storage had been there for 5 years, actually. And so there were just a few things that were like salvageable, because of the atmosphere and what have you. And so I was kind of hurt because I was like, oh God, all those things from the past, things that of my mother's, my father's, and things from the previous marriage. Not that I wanted to hold on to that marriage, but then again, there was a part of me that wasn't, didn't realize the importance of letting go. Right. I was ready to let go, but didn't understand that you really need to let go of those things so that you can really close the door. So I never will forget, I stood there with my fiance at the time, who's now my husband, and I said, you know what? I just got to say goodbye to everything. The Lord said, you're starting anew. You don't need any of those things which you let it go. And I mean, there were some things in there that were of great value, but God told me to let it go, that he was causing me to start new. Wow. And so I had to trust him. And many times God will ask us to forsake some things that are very dear to us, but it's just stuff. Yeah. And God gives you a whole new beginning. And now I don't regret, because God needed me to disconnect from that so that I could disconnect from it spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally. There could be a complete, total disconnect that I was ready to receive the new. That's right. So that's important that we're able to let go of things. Yeah, you cannot receive if your hand's holding on to something else. You got to close fist.
Yeah, right. And sometimes it's not even something that, like you said, some of it was like, kind because it was in storage, it didn't last too well, and some of it was good. But then sometimes you have to let go of even great things. Like earlier you spoke about that 1.4 million. That was a great thing, but it wasn't a good thing.
Exactly.
So letting go of things, of people, tangible things, money, it doesn't always have to be that is a bad, but sometimes it's a hindrance because it's blocking you from getting to where you need to be. You know, so God sometimes He would close those doors and say, move on. When I moved out of my house, I had got laid off and couldn't find a job. They were blackballing me, so I had to take them off the resume just so they didn't get a job. And that was from prayer. God told me to take them off, and I took them off. Then I got a job. You know, but it was crazy. But I had to let go of a beautiful home. I had to walk away. I had to let go of furniture, neighbors. I mean, y'all want this? Y'all want this? Because I couldn't even move it. Right. I had no way to even take a lot of things. I had to just stop, let it go. So you know, it was just a weight. But then. Right now, even people, you have to let go of people sometimes. Whatever's blocking you from your relationship and your walk to go forward with God, you gotta cut it off. Absolutely. I know Jared B always plays a song all the time about gotta let it go. I don't sing, Jared. But she always plays a song every now and then. Gotta let it go, and it resonated with me. You know, you do. And right now in my life, I don't have hardly anything and anybody, and I still drive my old Ford Taurus, and I'm like, you don't look at it. Because I had one client tell me, when you gonna get your new car, so when you gonna pay for it?
Exactly.
You know,
why is it bothering you so much when I'm driving? Yeah,
it's paid for.
Right.
I went back to my old home. It's paid for. You know, so what do you care? You know, you're gonna pay for it for me.
Exactly.
So I waited for my season of time when God says, okay, now you can have this.
Right.
You can have that. You know, until then, I don't need the blockage. And I know people think, oh, she just no, for real. I'm more happier now with less and a whole bunch of drama, and then it allows me to sow into my ministry with artists and authors, and people are like, how do you do? Because God has allowed it. Exactly. The blockages, I let go. If I had to let go, then I was still in those big bills, trying to pay for that big house and pay for that car and all that stuff, and I wouldn't be able to be free right now, and I'm so happy. This is the most happiest time I've ever had in my life as far as my ministry and what I do, as far as Pam and the people God allowed to be close to me, because God is very protective of me because of the gift and anointing that's on me, and it's not a brag. Believe me, it's a sacrifice of suffering. It's a great price to pay to be on your own. I know you know, because when you went to the desert, I love that testimony. When you had to go to the desert and dry land with nobody but God.
It was just me.
Somebody. Now look at you.
Yes.
If you hadn't allowed the stuff to be taken away, let go. You know, letting go is a good thing.
Let go and let God. I'm telling you, it's just so many things we just. People always blaming the enemy, but the reality of it is, we do a lot of this to ourselves.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
it's easy to the devil made me do it. Oh, not really. Not really. You didn't really ever have any kind of prayer life going on at all about what you're in the situation you're in, until after you're in it. Then you're like, okay, can you get me out of this mess? Right. And that's God told me, it's like you're born to shift the culture, and if you don't go now, He told me you will miss your calling. And it appealed to that one thing in me, being a soldier for God. It's like, even though I thought I loved everything else more, that got to the root of who I am and what I'm here for. And it's like, okay, since you put it like that, okay, I'm going to go ahead and go, and, even back to the 1.4 million, it really is good to have. And one of my girlfriends, Ayana Mack, I went to visit her at the radio station, and all she said to me was, I told her about the whole idea, and she said, what if you lead people the wrong way? That's all I needed to hear. I was sitting here thinking, okay, this is going to justify, it's going to get people to open their Bibles, it's going to get people to question this man's beliefs, you know what I mean? Like, because it was a very interesting documentary. It wasn't going to be, scandalous just for the sake of being a reality show. It was a true docuseries. But when she said, what if you lead people the wrong way? Yeah. Nope. I'm not putting that on my kids. I'm not doing that, because I have seen with my own eyes, sins of the father are very real, but so are the mother. I'm telling you. Yes. You got to be careful what you do, because it might skip you and go right to your kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it can.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that the Bible says is the blood of a soul we're responsible for. Well, we do. We're responsible for the souls that God allowed to cross our pathways and lead them the wrong way. God will hold you responsible if they die in their sin because of you.
Exactly.
Because of me, because of Janice, because of anybody out there. When you're in leadership position, whether you're serving or whatever, what you do in life matters.
Yeah.
What your kids pick up from what you do matters. And they can suffer the sins of you, the forefathers and generations back can come all the way down and land on your child, skip you and land on your child.
That's right.
You know, but one good thing that people don't talk about, and I've got to say this, is the Bible says if you live for God, you repent and rebuke the curse of the generation, you yourself don't have to suffer your forefathers' curses. They don't teach that in the church very much, but you got to be careful with that. If you live for God and you repent for your generational sins, not you, but their sins, you just repent to God for them, God will not allow that to come on you. If you live for Him, then that's scripture right there.
Amen.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people need to hear that, and you're right. They don't preach a lot of that in church,
Yeah, they
and it
don't.
really is. And that's one thing we've been talking about in this whole series since we've started the show is the generational curses.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, it is a generational choice.
Yes.
You don't
Ooh,
have to
good.
do what your parents did
Yeah,
and their
absolutely.
parents, and they didn't know better. Because once you know
Amen.
better, you do better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is only
Yes,
by
ma'am.
having God
Love it.
as the
Absolutely.
forefront and
That was
foundation
good.
of your soul. It's true.
It is true.
Okay, so let's jump into a couple more. We've got about 15 minutes left in the show. Okay, so I know it goes by so fast. That's so much fun. Gregor, you know we can talk. We can get to talking. So we don't need a lot of stuff. 10 behaviors of genuine people. Number 7, they are not thin-skinned. You know what I mean? That is true. I mean, because if you're sensitive to, or you're not for sure, or you care about people's opinions more than you care about what God says you're here to do, you can quickly give up or
Right.
be altered or
True.
adopt their
Yes,
theories.
true.
You cannot be thin-skinned. You cannot care what people think
That's good.
That's so true.
So
at
good.
all.
That's so true. I thank God for the process that He sent me through because the time that I grew up, I was always very sensitive
Me too.
and feelings easily hurt, easily able to feel rejected.
Yeah.
And so God had to allow me to go through some hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered, God, why are you letting me go through this? And He said, I'm toughening you up.
Exactly.
I need to toughen you up. You need to get tough skin because
Exactly.
of where you're going. You have to be the kind of person that can hear people say things about you and you
Yes.
not care.
Right.
And you keep moving and you stay focused on what I tell you to do.
Exactly.
And you're, you know how you see the horse
Oh,
with the
yeah.
blinders on and he's just looking straight ahead, and that's how God had to, that's the way He developed me.
Exactly.
And all of the trials and the tribulations, the process that I had to go through, and this is, let me say this, do not fight process. It's necessary.
Oh, amen.
It's painful. None of us like it. It's not cute. It's not pretty, but it's
Only for the
necessary.
weak.
And it is what helped me to get to a point where, and this is not arrogance, but this is confidence. Confidence in God and confidence in who I am. I cannot be concerned. I cannot afford to be concerned with what you think and what you think about me.
Exactly.
And for you to say that is not arrogance.
Right.
It's confidence in who you are and whose you are.
Amen.
And I had to learn to be okay with saying that.
Oh, I know. Me too.
So when you know who you are and you're clear about where you're going and who you're acknowledging, which is God, then you just keep moving forward and you're trusting, you're walking by faith. And the ones that can't handle it or whatever, you're like, God, I give that to you. I got to keep on moving. You know, and
Exactly.
that's how you do it. You keep on moving and you stay focused and you give that to God, which you cannot control, which you have no say over. You give it
That's
to
right.
God and say, Lord, I give that to you.
And that's the thing too, with me being a Christian and being a comedian, people don't really understand those two worlds sometimes because I'm not always clean when I do comedy. But what people don't understand that I understand is I'm not trying to have a church ministry. There's great people for that, right? I'm in a street ministry. I am trying to reach the people like me,
Exactly.
like who I used to be,
Exactly.
and they're not in a church. They're in the comedy club.
Exactly.
They're looking for healing. And a lot of people go to church for healing. People go to comedy clubs for healing. We need laughter. Laughter is good for the soul. But I think it's really about you. But there's a lot of people that judge me because I'm not totally clean in everything I do. But I'm not, and it is a choice, you know. But it is, sometimes I feel like that who I'm trying to reach, I need to be enough like them so that I don't alienate them. Because if I come in talking just God, 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 I'm more of like, I'm going to trick you into understanding that God is really the root. Like I wrote the book, How My Kitty Betrayed Me. At the end of the book, it has a lot of scandalous things that went on in my life and my mom and our family and things we went through. But at the end, Mr. Right was God, and Mr. Right walks in.
I love that.
But people are so judgmental. So I struggle. It's been the one thing that's kind of held me back, trying to balance both sides of my who I am. Is they're very deeply spiritual, but I'm also very human and flawed. But it's like you said, I can't care what other people looking in are going to judge me for what I do, because I'm not here to reach you. I'm probably here to reach someone else. And that there's all walks of life that are here, that their street ministry is needed just as much as the church ministry.
Absolutely. I always say she's Peter's cousin, because Peter in the Bible was a big person. He cursed and swore like crazy. And guess who built the church on Peter the Rock?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ did. He was one of his top men, Peter. And Peter, I mean, to Christ's death, Peter swore.
Y'all call me Patera. Y'all can call me Patera from here on out.
People have to stop trying to judge.
Yeah.
The fruit of the Spirit is what we're supposed to look at, not all the actions and things, because none of us are perfect. None of us have arrived. We are not here, well done, good and faithful servant. We're not there yet. Even I slip a word every now and then. Ooh, help me with that. But, I grew up in a household, my mom's family was German, beer drinking Germans. And, that mixed in with the black and all that good stuff. And so I grew up with all that. So it was part of my dialect. I
grew up with a military father. Yeah, my dad was a Marine.
My dad was in the Army.
And that's the thing.
We grew up like that. But as I got saved and I started to change my language to the language of God, it became more fruitful. My mouth was more fruitful. But I still slip and I still have to repent. So there's no judgment when we fall short. God doesn't look at us like that. He looks at the heart of man, not the outward observance. The world look at the outward observance, then they want to judge you.
And it's so much of it's man-made anyway.
Absolutely.
It's a word.
Living in a glass house trying to throw a stone. Come on, you know that old saying. So stop.
But that's the thing. But see, here's the thing that people understand. I know the Bible so well that when people try to judge me and come at me, I'm going to flip around and flip it on you with some scripture, and it's going to make you feel like, what?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the sin begins in the thought, not the deed. So if you think it, you've done it. Mm-hmm. So while you're over here judging people, understand that you have too. Yeah. So we want to make sure we're not judging people.
Absolutely. Judge not, we should be judged. So why are you judging me? It's not your position.
And it's bigger than just that.
Yeah.
Spiritual part. Energy is so real. Yes. And I think when you hold negative emotions in you, I think that's when you allow those sicknesses to come into your body, and you get sickness and things invade your mind. You have to protect your mind at all costs.
That's so true.
Yes. Okay, so number 8, we have about a few more minutes. I want to get to your book. Okay. Number 8, they are not overly modest or boastful. They are consistent, which we've talked about, and they practice what they preach. I mean, that is definitely something I've worked. I can say the number 10 has been my biggest thing, is to practice what I preach, and that is why I had to go heal. Because I can know you need to be healed. But when God told me you have to go first, and healing is not for the weak. But I'm telling you, it is probably the hardest thing you'll ever do, but it'll be the most rewarding thing you'll ever do, because the fact that when you get through it and you can help even one person come through the same thing, but the fact that God put it on my heart, he goes, Amber, you have a microphone in your face. He's like, he goes, I'm giving you the platform, because he knows I'm ready for it now.
Yes.
And the timing. So trust God's timing, that just because something hasn't happened, that means probably more than likely you haven't happened yet. You haven't done the work. You haven't manifested into who you're supposed to become, so that the right words and the right message, unlike me doing that reality show, that would have been the wrong message to put out there at the wrong time. But thank God for that there can be nothing that you want more than God's presence in your life. Because if it is, then that's going to be your God, and don't be surprised when God doesn't bless it.
That's right.
What do you guys say? Well, you know what? We only have a few more minutes in the show, so I definitely want to get to whatever you guys are working on right now, and your book as well. So tell me what's going on with you guys.
Okay, well, we have teamed up. God has put us in a different position. I went from managing Janice with music, and I really didn't work with her book much. MJ Melva did that more I work with more of her music. And so it came to a point where I said, God, the management thing, something's not working anymore.
Okay.
And the Lord said, it's because I want you to partnership with her. I have things I want you guys to do.
Wow.
So he brought us to a partnership. So we're working on the next CD.
Yay.
We're still in the music part of it.
Awesome. Congratulations.
God gave me songs to write that are from the throne room that she's going to sing. She sings from the throne room a lot. She has this anointing on her. Not everybody can do that, but she can go all the way in there like an angel and bring it on down to the earth. So the songs that I wrote were coming down like that, and God's like, I need her to sing them because she knows how to tap in and bring it down, because there's something that the world needs coming up. And this CD is going to answer those questions. So we're working on that project. And then the other project is God told me he wants me to have like a CISD, Christian Independent School District, because our school districts are in trouble in several many ways, because I've been in education for over 40 some years. I've been an educator, and so I know what's on the inside and what's going on. I know what's happening in the classroom. I know firsthand, it's not gossip. We're in trouble with education. Absolutely. So the Lord has given us a commission to work with our people, our children from pre-K all the way up to college level. So Janice and I are working together on developing a program of schooling that will address a lot of these issues. And God's given us a great plan. So we're working on a lot of projects. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So that's where we are on that.
Beautiful. Congratulations.
Absolutely. And I'm just so excited about the book that I have, which also talks about, my glasses, that's all right. But I have a book entitled Realizing My Best Life, The Awakening, which talks about the things that I went through as a child, from molestation to things that I endured in my marriage, my previous marriage, and my challenges with low self-esteem.
Amen.
And then I talk about the different things that God allowed me to do in terms of changing my mindset and coming to a place of awakening.
Yes.
And so once the awakening occurred, then I was able to begin to realize my best life. And so now I'm helping women to realize their best life, because I had to go through what's called process. Nobody likes process. And it included making a decision. I made a decision where I settled and I married someone that God did not ordain, and it made my life a living hell. But once I came in agreement with God's plan, and I decided to walk away and align myself with His will, which was a process. It was not easy and it wasn't pretty, but God let me know nothing was going to change. He'd be with me if I was there or if I chose to walk away, and I chose to walk away. And He was with me, but it was a process. But I am so much better for having gone through it. And so now, God is using me as an example to women to let them know that you can be, and mind you, I walked away from my marriage at age 49. And a lot of women stay in their marriages when they're in their 40s and even their 50s and older, because they feel like, well, it's so late in life now. I don't want to make a change. And I will tell you, it's never too late to make a decision to align with God's will, and then you will see things shift and you'll be in the flow of God.
Amen.
And then you'll get that Boaz like she got. And then God bless her looking fine husband now, girl.
And God blessed me with a wonderful man that I met in college, mind you, who I was supposed to marry a long time ago, but I took a different route.
Before you jump there, tell them about what this book took you to for your podcast. What came out of this book?
Oh my God. And the wonderful thing is that the book opened the door for me to have a podcast entitled Realizing My Best Life, which you were a guest.
Yes,
and thank you so much for being that guest. And it just has opened so many doors. And then it has opened another door for me today, where I actually have, a few weeks ago, I was an assistant general manager, but now I am CEO. My husband and I are both CEO of our own internet radio station.
Congratulations.
So a lot of doors have been opened. And then, of course, I have a single that I released. It's a worship single entitled I Give You Glory, Janice Peterson. And it is phenomenal. And by the way, I brought these as gifts for you.
Aw, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
That.
And so we're just
beautiful.
So we're just excited about what God is doing. And it's all because when you align, I'll say this finally, that it's time to change. Change is here. And it's time, we're in a new era. Don't settle or go back to what God has released us from. He has reset. He has cleared the slate. He's allowed us to move forward with a new beginning. So it's time to move forward and step in what God it's called you to.
Anything you had to pray your way out of, don't go back.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, we got to go, you guys. The show's about over now. So what's your contact info, social media? How do people get in touch with you guys?
Okay, if you want to get in touch with me, Pam Jones, for River and Word, it's riverandword.com, and you'll find all my information. The phone number's there, the social media's there, so riverandword.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. It's my girl, Pam. All right. So where do people get in touch with you, Janice?
All right, you can certainly get in touch with me on Facebook under Janice Peterson Townsend. I'm also on Twitter under Janice Peterson Townsend. J Peterson Sings. Also Instagram, Janice Peterson Townsend. And of course, you can reach me at Janice Peterson Music at gmail.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for your gifts. You're such a pleasure, joy to have on. Congratulations for all your success for both of you ladies.
God bless you.
And women can do it. Now if we can just get the same amount of money. All right, guys. For more information about Marridate, marridate.com, amberneal.com. You guys will listen to Edge Radio at 101.7 FM, 1540 AM on the all-new Matchmaker Hotline. For more information about me, go to amberneal.com. We'll see you again tomorrow. It is Battle of the Sexes.